recap situated here. Okay, happy Wednesday. Current time now is 10:04 p.m. January 21st, 2026. Happy Wednesday. We are finishing up our season 1 series of Homeless in Atlanta. I think we should be on like part 4 if I'm not mistaken. You have to excuse me because I have to multitask at this point because I decided to pre-record first and then I'm gonna go live. So I have to get everything situated. But let's do a quick recap because I know we discussed a lot leading up to this point. But I know we ended up getting evicted from my mother's house after, I want to say 6 months after getting evicted from our apartment. If I'm timing that correct, it could be about 6 to 8 months or somewhere. We're still in 2019, so all this is happening in the year of 2019 thus far. And so we've gotten evicted, we've gotten our car repossessed, we've got our items thrown out on the street. We were never notified that we were getting evicted. We were never, given any type of paperwork in regards to an eviction being filed, an eviction, being processed or being planned or anything like that. They just showed up out of nowhere. And remember when we went to court, she said something about she had a letter. It was returned. And that was pretty much it. They came back, threw everything out. And then it was the whole summertime where we were doing a little lift here and there, sleeping in the car. That's how I ended up dislocating my shoulder several times. We're living with my mom. Unnecessary drama constantly with her because, of course, I'm invading her space. It's a 1-bedroom apartment. I'm just completely invading her space, and she's just kind of over it. And so I try to not be there when she get there. Like, I would try to Uber and Lyft at night so that way when she get home, she can just kind of have her space. The problem was she would never give me a key. And no, I think she ended up giving me a key at some point, but then she would this wasn't anything to do with me. This was just something that she used to do. This is what she said, but this was something that she would do anyway. She would put the chair under the door and lock it. But I'm like, not only does that inconvenience you, but that inconvenience someone who is living there, who's trying to come home after, doing Lyft and Uber and stuff. She would have the chair under the door. I can't get in. I have to knock. I have to knock on her window and stuff like that, wake her up. And it was just... And so... just had a lot of unnecessary drama dealing with her. We had a lot of unnecessary drama dealing with the twins' father, Ernest. Remember, he ended up going to court, making these false allegations and things and such against me. And then we had unnecessary drama, with the altercation that happened at my mom's sister house, which is essentially my aunt, in regards to Christian and trying to get his stuff and stuff like that. So it was just a whole bunch of unnecessary drama from people who I just wasn't expecting this to come from. And so then the eviction goes through with my mom. So that's 2 evictions in the year of 2019. And then don't forget, we reached out to Partnership for Community Action to actually get help with the rent, to help pay the rent up. We was going to come out of the pocket and pay the rest of it. And remember, when we got there to our appointment, they stated, oh no, we're not trying to accept rent on their behalf. See what I mean? So now, I did go and give them their key back. I did go back to the leasing office. I want to say the next day or the following day, and gave her her key. And so then we met a random chick that lived next door to my mom, and she invited me to sleep on her couch. I will say this was a random stranger. It happens. It happens like that. And so then this was a very interesting time because I had no idea that this young lady, and she was younger than me. I want to give Abby like 2021-ish. I believe she was 21. I think she had maybe like just turned 21. Now that I think about it, I don't even think that she was 21 just yet, because she had to have people like, let's just say she was 21. Let's just say she was 21. Yeah, she was 21. And so, not knowing that this is a raging alcoholic in the making, I did not know. I promise you, I did not know. I didn't. Listen, coming from living with my mom, who I'm talking about, she worshipped the ground of Bud Light, Budweiser, Bud Ice, beer. No nutritional value, just beer. Worship the ground for as long as I can remember. I'm talking about like, and so coming from that environment and going into this environment with Abby, oh my goodness. I was there for about 3 weeks, give or take about 3 weeks. And it was just a pit stop. Obviously, it was just a pit stop. I think she lost her key like 3 times. And we would have these moments where, when she's like sane enough to sit still and actually talk and converse and stuff like that. That would be maybe like an hour in the morning before she starts drinking, because by 12 o'clock she is on it. By 1 she's tipsy. By 2 she is revving it up, and she is pissy sloppy drunk by 6, and she is about to get ready to black out. Maybe doze off for like 30 minutes and take a nap by 9, and then she's up again. It was fascinating to sort of see it like unravel and evolve, because I was trying to get her to understand, like, maybe you're not, an alcoholic in the making. Maybe you just like to drink. But it was 30 days and it was the same. Out of 30 days, there was never one day that she wasn't drinking. So that should tell you something. And it was just all day, like all day, as early as you could remember. And that's why I said, I gave her 21 because for some reason, if my memory serves me correct, like I had to send somebody to the stove. I was like, oh, geez. Oh, bummer. And so I was able to get my courage up to figure out what would be the next step as far as trying to get into a homeless shelter. At this point, I'm like, let me just get from over here because this is obviously not something that I was trying to do long term. Not something that I was seeking to do long term, but I appreciated the pit stop in order to help me sort of do a little bit research. So I did utilize this time to do some good research as far as how to maneuver homeless in Atlanta. And so the first step was there's this 1-800 number that you can call, and you sort of register yourself. And after then you have this agent. She just kind of like an intake, right? And she figure out, okay, these are the homeless shelters that are suitable for your needs. Single, female, no kids, right? And so she made sure to specify. I also have this homeless shelter called Rebecca's Tent. Their season is about to get ready to start in the next week or so. And you want to go ahead, give them a call, complete their intake. So that way, because I know they have a limited space. Their spacing is really small, really limited. And so she was like, call them first, and try to, and so obviously, and she was like, and make sure you tell them that you sleeping outside. Just put that in there just so, you can get to the top of the list. And so, it obviously wasn't a necessary excuse to be using and stuff like that. But I understood, the severity of it. You want to make sure that you prioritize how desperate you are because you're homeless. And so I ended up calling the homeless shelter called Rebecca's Tent. Ended up speaking to someone over the phone, getting the rundown, doing this little phone intake over the phone, and made an appointment to come to the shelter and go over the handbook, the rules, the regulations, things like that, meet in person and kind of do a little mock interview, just kind of feel you out, feel what type of person you are. And so I think I may have took a Lyft there that day. I think I ended up taking a Lyft there. And it could have been a day before or it could have been the day of. that the shelter was opening. Yeah, like I said, this was back in 2019. And I was accepted as a resident, and that is how I begin my journey at Rebecca's Tent. And when I tell you, I had such an amazing experience. Even up until, like, I want to say the end of last year, when I had to resign as a board member because I had found out that I was expecting. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to, like, juggle it all. Like, I can't. Mentally, I'm just not able to juggle it all. And I think it was, no, it was, I have my years mixed up because I just had COA last July. So that would have been the end of the year, October, November-ish, back in 2024, now that I think about it. And so, see what I mean? Like, I was a board member. We got all the way to that point. But don't forget, we just started as a resident. in this, what is this, episode 4? We are, so episode 5, we'll get into everything that sort of happened at Rebecca's Tent. We'll kind of go over all of that. But I just wanted to get this episode to a close. Try not to make the videos too long, but long enough so that way they can have a recap, and then they can sort of just have like a point. And so that was just the whole leaving Abby, and entering into the Rebecca's Tent phase. It was fun. Like I said, she was next door, so I would just randomly see my mom. You see what I mean? Like, she lived next door, so I would definitely see her every now and then, for sure. And it was, like I said, it was just a very interesting time to leave one situation and enter into another situation with such similarities, such as a person who just likes to drink in their free time. It was just unfortunate that she had so much free time, and she didn't really utilize a lot of that free time with her daughter, which I didn't know that she even had, because you would see her for like 30 minutes and then she would ship her off, and she would just go do and be and whatever she wanted to do. And so it was, just a very eye-opening experience for me, because I just wanted to make sure that I didn't, like, get distracted with whatever she had going on. Like, we would sit and chill, like I said, maybe that morning before she went off wandering and maneuvering around with whatever she was doing. But she had her life, she lived her life, and I was just sleeping on the sofa. So I believe Skinbone just did a skit like that, with people who have to sleep on the sofa. It hit different. It definitely hit different when you have to sleep on the sofa, because, like, you could be trying to get some sleep and then she crawling in the window because she done lost the key. She got this dude coming in. She got that dude coming in. I mean, I had a few dudes coming in too, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but she was never there. I'm like, she was never there. But still, it was like, oh my goodness. I'm talking about just drama on top of drama on top of drama. Like, to be so young, I just couldn't quite understand. And I was trying to get to it. I'm like, where did this, like, what's going on? Like, what, but she wouldn't sit still long enough to, like, go down, that dark alley that back alley to try to figure out like what happened. And so at some point you just have to let people go and let them figure it out on their own, because will become so encompassed on, trying to mind other people's business. I just let it go. I was like, I'm finna get on up out of here. Thank you. I appreciate the time. I left her key because I knew she was gonna lose it, and she ended up hitting me up on Instagram. What my key? I'm like, just look in the little electrical socket outside. It should be in there. I'm like, where else was I supposed to leave it? You know what I mean? I'm like, at least I locked your door. I could have just left it open. Like I could have just left your stuff open, but I locked the door and slid the key into the little socket or whatever. I think I had cashed up her some money as well on some bye, thank you. Don't sit here and just try to act like a person was just, bumming it out on your sofa. I'm like, I shot her some money on my way out and told her, thank you, I appreciate your assistance. But in the meantime, in between time, okay, love you, bye. Mwah.